Hello. Um, so as I'm recording this, I'm actually in the midst of a week break I decided to take from creating most things, which I apparently chose just the damnedest time to take that break. Because a couple days ago, a group called Collective Shout, which is an Australian right-wing fringe group that works with some uh evangelical groups here in America, they like spam called Mastercard, Visa, and I think Discover Card as well, and they basically bullied these payment processors into believing that there was illegal content on the platform itch.io, which, if you don't know what that is the platform where I sell Sunset of the Elements, its soundtrack, and some bonus goodies, as well as where I've put out all my Game Jam games, and where I've been planning to put out New Dawn for the Elements. Now, um, they did this for NSFW content. Now, you might go, okay, well, why do you care? You don't make porn, and like, you're right. But that's not what this is about, because it starts there, because that's the easiest thing to justify. It's easy to justify. Oh, we want to get rid of pornographic things because children could see this. It's like, okay, but like, you're it's dumb anyway. This is a website that has adult content, and it's known to have adult content, and bullying payment processors into just going after the world around you so that you could achieve your censorship goals is stupid. But it doesn't end there, because it never ends there. It's never going to end there, because appeasement does not work for people like this. It starts with the most easily justifiable thing, and they get rid of that community. They cut them off from everyone else, and then they move to the next thing. That's usually queer and disabled communities, representations of queer people and disabilities. Uh, if you've played Sunset of the Elements, which I know very few people actually have, um, that exists there, and so like that's like the way that the world treats the weirdest little freaks of the world is the bottom level, and that's and the sorry, I tapped my mic there. The lower you pushed that bar, the bigger there is a risk for everyone above that, and so like that's there's always you always have to pay attention to what's down there. I'm sorry if I'm not making sense. I usually script things like this, but I'm just kind of going right now. Um, Honestly, like I, it's one of those times where I kind of wish I either had hand tracking or I just did webcam shit, because I'm moving with my hands a lot right now because I'm agitated. Uh, because they start there with pornography. It's easy to do, and then they move to queer people, and then they move to disabled people, and then they move to violence again. And as they cut off and they try to villainize groups here, they make a community that is less and less solidarity, has less and less people to form solidarity with, and they create more and more precedent. Like, well, why didn't you do that back there? This is how fascism works, and that's just kind of how the world's been operating the past few years. I know I'm not really a political content creator, but like this is just kind of the things that have been happening time and time and time again. And so like this I guess you'd call this the straw that breaks the camel's back, because I feel like I need to say that. Is that like you if you don't see why you need to defend this, because it's like, oh, that's gooner shit, bro. That's just gooner shit. I'm not a gooner. I ain't gooning to that. That doesn't affect me. It does, and it will. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere is a quote that's said and parroted around all the time, but that doesn't make it less true. That's how these things work. When you are outside of what the people who hold power consider the norm, you have to have solidarity with each other. Because if you don't, everything falls apart. All right? Like, the reason pornography and pornographic content is seen as shady is in part because there's so much a stigma around the work towards it, and that has caused a lot of the stuff that's connected to it to become seen as shady. It's kind of like, it's not like a direct relationship that like, oh, sex work is shady and thus it is an inherent part of sex work. That's not true. It's kind of like the the Stonewall the bar, that was a very shady bar, but it was not shady because it was a gay bar. It had to be shady because gay bars were, an ostracized, pushed to the fringes part of society. And so, because of that, there was less protections and there's less safety nets around it. Already in the itch.io Discord, there have been people talking about using crypto instead, which for these creators is a removal of financial protections compared to banks and regular payment processors like Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. These removal of protections, these push them out to the fringes and it makes them less safe. And the societal aspect of it makes it so that they can't talk about this. This harms people. This harms people. It's all this is doing is cruelty for the sake of cruelty. Because especially with like filmed pornography, there is like a case to be made. I'm not saying this is a good case, but there's a case to be made that there are human rights abuses happening in the pornography industry. I'm not saying that they aren't happening, but like because like they are with a lot of these bigger companies. Um, so there's a case to be made there. Video games, video games. There's no real people involved there. Like so. There's not really like an abuse aspect to this. It is purely this like, oh, kids should not see that. Okay, kids have parents. There's been this very big trend for conservative talking points to try to, I don't know, pacify the world, I guess that's what you'd call it. um it's just like, oh, kids should not see this content, therefore it should not exist anywhere. Like, it's like, that's stupid and you're stupid. um I'm just gonna say that because that's how it is. Because like, as far as it goes, like, parents need to do things. You need to be a parent to your children. All right, because like, I know I didn't see porn like really anywhere for a while. Why? Because my parents were active in allowing where I had access to the internet for a long time. Parental controls are on every piece of technology with internet access. There are free resources, and like, so if you don't want your kids to see this, be a parent and do something about it. You cannot blame the world for your parenting. That's stupid. But also, they don't really give a shit. And we know that they don't give a shit. They just hate people. And then they act out of their hate. And they keep going until, I don't know, it's an Ouroboros eventually. They eat their own tail. Like, they can't because they can't be happy. People like these groups can't ever be happy. Because they never are, because there's always something wrong, but they never want to fix their own situation. They lash out and they get angry at other people and they blame them. And that's how they deal with the world. And you can see this in the political landscape. Like, I'm an American, all right? There's been this long time thing with the conservatives, with the Republicans. They're just like, oh, this is immigrants' fault. This is trans people's fault. It's like, they'll make laws about trans people that affect like 5 people in their state, and it's like, you could, I don't know, you could take the time and energy you spent making this law and feed all of the children who are homeless in your state. But no, you won't do that. You just want to be angry and you want to point fingers. You don't want to make things better. You're just trying to make things worse for people who aren't you. It's a vindictive pattern of behavior, and all it does is it hurts people again and again and again. And there are some people I've seen quite a few times that have been acting like, oh, the founder of Collective Shout says that they're feminists, so this is actually the left's fault. Which, that's a weird Gamergate era type thinking, and it's also the kind of thought that I've seen recently where people be like, actually, the Nazis in Germany were socialists because they called themselves socialists. Like, that's not how any of this works, guys. Because you can't just look at what someone proclaims their ideology to be. You have to look at what they're doing. And like the list for collective shout includes menstruation and shit like that. It's like this isn't that's not a feminism thing. I'm granted I'm a man. I was born a man. I can't really speak as to what all is and is not feminism. So like I kind of cut that one off there. But I do know that feminist groups aren't going to work with foreign known evangelical groups that are far right. Like that's not how this works. But like I don't know. I'm talking to walls probably at this point because again, with a lot of conservative types tend to be very point finger at already chosen enemy. And if that's accepted, then you just go for it. So honestly, if I can't change your mind there, like I don't know, I'll try to put like proof here up on screen if I remember to actually edit this video. Okay. But yeah, ultimately I am just kind of worried. I'm worried about the industry and creativity because like I said, the way that you treat people who are viewed societally as the worst and the lesser is ultimately something that you can grow and give permission to any group that is outside of a perceived majority, right? If there's any group that's a minority, then you can just label them with one of the labels of the worst of your society and treat them as the worst of your society. Um, so like you do things like that, and so like I said, like there's a trans character in New Dawn for the Elements. I'm not entirely doing this because it just affects me. This affects a lot of people that I know, a lot of people I care about, and an entire platform and industry that I love and care for. I love itch. I've said before that it's like, oh, there are some like issues with how hard it is to parse out explicit content, but I think I did that to myself. I don't remember. I think I allowed myself with explicit content because I'm an adult. I can stand to see some titties. All right, let's be real here. Uh, I'm 11 minutes. I'm 13 minutes into this recording. I think I could say the word titties without YouTube destroying this video. I guess we'll see. But like, so yeah, is there some things that itch.io could have improved with regards to searching their website and filtering out explicit content? Yes, obviously. But that does not mean the answer is threaten payment processors to remove all of it. Because like um one of the creators two of the creators I follow. One of the creators I follow is called Hot Pink Games. I'm not gonna show any of their stuff because they make exclusively pornographic games, but they are dedicated to making them good games. Uh, and they've talked at GDC. They're very fascinating um people. I think there was one person who gave the talk at GDC. I don't know if they're a team or if it's just one guy. Uh, I don't know. But like they are trying to do something new and trying to push for something else in the industry, and now they can't because they've been given this. Well, they can't get paid from anything on itch right now. They can't get their payouts processed, and you can't search for the games on itch anymore because they've all been de-indexed. So that puts them in a tough spot. And then there's like some other ones I don't know, some of them might not even be a bit affected by the whole thing. I don't entirely know because I already own the games that I wanted. I own these things that I wanted because I wanted to support them. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what things have and have not been de-indexed because I'm pretty sure I can just look at it anyway because I already have links to it. Because that's actually what's been going on is a lot of these things haven't been removed from the platform entirely. Some of them have, but a lot of them have just been removed from search results. So if you already own it or you have a direct link to it, you can download it again. For now, here's the thing: itch has been they're not entirely off the hook here. I know that like a lot of this came from Visa and Mastercard, and I think Stripe, like the payment processor that kind of works as an intermediary. They are also putting pressure on itch here. I believe. I think that's what someone said. I don't have a primary source on that, so don't quote me on that. But like Itch's handling of the situation was not good. For like 6 hours, the only information that these developers had from Itch was a fucking salute emoji in the official Discord, as their shit just got nuked. Which like that's awful. It's god awful. Um, they did eventually come out with some word about what was going on, and I have seen some of the developers and admins in the Discord talking about what exactly is causing this, and have actually been coordinating with some of the community's efforts to try to get these changes reversed. They have not coordinated with the people who are pushing for crypto. Thankfully, because I don't. If honestly, if the only way for itch to do payments is crypto, I'm gonna go to self-hosting. I'm gonna start paying for web hosting. I'm gonna start hosting the game myself. I don't know, man. Um, but yeah, that's sort of my little rant. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this down. I'm probably just gonna try to put up like source images in front of me here. This is probably a very boring video to look at because again, I don't even have a face. I really need to figure something else out for doing this. Um, I don't know. But hey, if you like the idea of trying to work with if you want to get these changes reversed, you can contact find out what card you have. If you have you probably have a debit card if you are an adult watching this. If you're not an adult watching this, I don't want your help. Um, this is a conversation for adults. Get out. Um, you can contact Visa or Mastercard or whoever is your bank's card, and you can tell them that you don't think this should be happening and that they should reverse this decision. One of the things I've been seeing going around is that you should try to mention their wallets. Is that like, hey, there was a lot of money, there's a lot of businesses here, and you've just cut them off. That's going to hurt a lot of business, and there's going to be a lot of money lost. Kind of bring that up in there because the people behind this don't have souls. I guess they only care about money. They put money where their heart cavity is, and they squeeze it to pump blood. So just try to be annoying, be persistent. Go. There are resources. I'm probably gonna link them in the description. Um, if you're still here, if you're still watching this weird unhinged rant that I've probably put some music behind, thank you. I really don't have anything else to say. Be kind to each other. Even to the people you don't like, even to people who have weird kinks, people who have strange identities that you don't understand, people with weird haircuts and hair colors. Be nice to people, dude. They are people with complex worlds, and like they're deserving of the basic respect of another person. And that's how this world should be, I think. Um Anyway, I don't know how to end a video like this. This isn't something else something I do very often, but I guess if I'm making a video on Is this I guess this would be political technically, wouldn't it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to end this. Be cool to each other. I don't know. See you next time.